Marvel Spider-Man 2. I love it. I've platinumed it. I want a new game plus it, but this is your final warning for spoilers because if I go any longer without talking about the meat of this game, I'm going to explode. You still with me? Excellent. Let's dive in. There's only one place to start, and that's with the final third of this game. I guess with Venom. And no, not Eminem's weird catchy song. I mean this Venom. This version of Venom. I loved it. I know that some people are pissed because it's not Eddie Brock, but I'm here for more and different interpretations of characters. We've seen 1,000,001 symbiote stories at this point, so for Harry to take on the mantle of the symbiote at the start and then at the end, I thought was neat. I cannot believe that they went full Web of Shadows 2.0 with it though. Going up the entire city I thought was nuts, but I liked it. I do think it's not really like a Venom move, it's something more like a Carnage or a Null would look to accomplish. For me, Venom just fucking hates Spider-Man, but I think it fits here because it suited the whole healing the world theme that this game went for. Like I mentioned in my non-spoiler video, Insomniac create excellent villains because even if their methods are so wrong and hostile, their rationale, what they often want to achieve, it isn't. So yeah, I really like Venom. I thought his design was bang on, like he's fucking huge. Demands that presence, and then hey, when they flip the switch and that camera pans around to the third person, you get to control him for the first time. Oh my god. It's them moments that make these games so special as a comic book fan. You always had that sneaking little suspicion that you get to play as him, but it's the execution that made them moments special. Like I was mentioning in my vids, I'm a pretty calm person when playing video games, but like Final Fantasy 16 earlier in the year, this game had so many moments where I'm audibly losing my shit. So yeah, there's that moment where you get to play as Venom, that's one of them. There was just enough between some special attacks, but not overdoing it when you just have that one mission and you face off against Kraven. That's where I think Insomniac really nailed these Spider-Man stories. They give the fans what they want, but they show sensible restraint while doing so. The fight between Kraven and Venom was excellent and the writing was top tier when he's like, "You will be my last hunt and I will be your first." So sick, man. Kinda keeping on the theme of villains, Kraven, just often done really wrong, particularly in previous Spider-Man games. Like, every time he was on screen, he has your attention here. He just captures you. They do not mess around with establishing how much of a threat he was. The way they kill the Hunter at the start of the game, and then getting stabbed by Scorpion, the toxin having no effect, and then just chokes him to death on screen. And then as well finding out later on in the game that he killed the Shocker. Like, Jesus, Insomniac did not hold back. There goes your chance of the OG Sinister Six in the third game though. They're dead. Ultimately though, his role is a catalyst to getting Venom eventually, and bringing out the worst in Pete when he's got the symbiote, which, by the way, I mean, come on. Get Yuri Lowenthal on the nominations Performance of the Year right now. The range that he displays is just terrific. Like, when he's bullying the lizard, like, saying that his family doesn't want him and how he's not strong enough to protect them or keep them. It was incredible. I was laughing my head off. I thought the symbiote stuff alone was just really well done. Like, again, you knew that you'd probably end up fighting Peter as Miles, but the execution of it was brilliant. That fight was amazing. The score in the background just captured it perfectly. I think one of the biggest struggles that Insomniac came through was making sure both Spider-Men had a fulfilling arc. I have to remember that Miles has only really come through the fight with the Tinkerer and Roxxon, but by the end of this one, he's really his own Spider-Man, and that's reflected in the new suit. I'm already tired of the discourse around this new suit. I'm actually a fan. I don't like the original colour variant, but I do like one of them. And look, this is Insomniac's Miles. He doesn't need a traditional Spider-Man suit. Let them try things. Remember at the start of Spider-Man PS4, everyone hated the white spider on Pete. And now look, I mean, it's one of my favourite Spider-Man suits. Speaking briefly on those suits too, some of these late game suits are amazing, man. I've had to hold back speaking about these. Miles in particular has such a great range of suits in the game. The suits from the Absolute Carnage run, the Black Panther inspired suits, Wolverine, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Dark Ages, Pete too. I mean, finally, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit has been done justice. But also, the alternate symbiote suits with 2 levels of 90s show colouring and reflections. Insomniac Games, thank you so much. Speaking of symbiotes, Carnage, baby. Ho ho ho! I knew from minute one, when I seen that red-headed flame leader, we've got Carnage. Let there be Carnage, and I'm so happy. This is a character that is just, right now, actually everywhere in the comics, but is always done so poorly in mainstream media. He finally has a chance to be done right. I hope he's not cordoned off to a side plot in the eventual third game. I hope he's either an integral part of the main story, or he's a spin-off slash DLC, and that's solely dedicated to him. That's how much of a threat he is. That's how much of a plotline he deserves. I guess, speaking of that third game, those post-credit scenes, wowee. The first one of Norman visiting Otto, wanting to find out who the new Spider-Men are, and then he's like, asks Otto what he's writing, and he goes,
"The final chapter."
Chills, man. I always felt that the Goblin was going to be left for that third game, and now Norman's really been through it all to really undergo that arc. His Mayor campaign, Oscorp, Otto, and now his son's in a coma. That's definitely character building, that's for sure. But the other post-credit scene, that's where I really want to get into it. Silk. Oh my god. I did not see this one coming. I have to be honest, she's a weak spot in my Spider-Man knowledge. I know enough, but yeah, like, Insomniac definitely like to pull from the wider scope of the Spider-Man universe. And, I mean, just look at how they took Mr. Negative and turned him into a really compelling character and gave him a story. And I'm really keen to see what they do with Silk in that. It's definitely a big juggling act because sequels always demand more. Us as the player, we're always like, what else you got? Like, we've had and still got, to be fair, the symbiote powers. How else do you elevate the gameplay? Silk provides a new option that most people thought may be left to a certain Gwen Stacy. Still, I'm a big fan of Insomniac really trying new things, and I'm excited to kind of see where this goes, I've got to be honest. I know I'm kind of bouncing all over the place, but yeah, just going back to the whole Venom arc, I'm still conflicted on where things left with Harry. Obviously, Insomniac has a plan for him in some way, because they would have killed him otherwise. It definitely would have felt more emotional, and I'd argue serviced the story maybe a little bit better had he died when Pete purged the symbiote from him, but again, I trust Insomniac's vision for this one. The whole Web of Shadows stuff was nuts, man. I mean, we get the vision of Harry seeing the city and then the world getting engulfed in the symbiote, but I thought that'd be it, that we just get a vision, but it actually happens. So then you go around fighting the symbiote nest, which again was just a nice throwback, and obviously Pete gets the anti-venom, and again, I lost it. It's a special moment, but on two levels. The way Miles managed to reform Martin Lee to do good and lose his power in the process to give Pete the symbiote back, but as anti-venom with the slick suit and the fucking cool new abilities, another moment where I audibly lost my shit. But you still see in that moment, before they bring him back, how Pete still feels and is grieved by what happened to May. Right up to that, I was thinking, man, they haven't really touched on this too much since the start. I thought they really would, particularly with the symbiote. But that was powerful, man. Like, really good Spider-Man shit. That despite how many people he saved and still saves, he's burdened by the one that he couldn't. And yeah, just another showing by the team at Insomniac that they really get this character. And Miles too. Like, he never really forgives Martin Lee for killing his dad. But he lets go of that hatred and resentment that he has for him because it's eating him up. These characters, like, this is what makes Spider-Man. They're just so fucking relatable. I'm sure we've all felt burned by people, and you just have this anger, this want just to get back at them, but you have to let it go because it eats you up. And it just felt really personal to me. Miles actually acts like the senior Spider-Man in this game, with his decisions and actions, and I really like that because we've always got the ability to learn from others around us, and it's not just Pete teaching Miles, it's Miles teaching Pete. Like, the whole game is like, please, communicate, speak. All these problems could have been solved and can be worked on if we just sat down and spoke for a minute. And I think that's really powerful stuff, because they're both Spider-Man, and they have nobody else that they can talk to about this stuff apart from each other. And yet Pete never spoke about May, and Miles never really spoke about Lee. I think it's really good Spider-Man storytelling just all around. Just magical moments of storytelling. And speaking of magic, That fucking mission, man. I really thought heading into this game we'd get a look at either Wolverine or an Avenger or the Avengers themselves, and yeah, none of that. But that didn't stop Insomniac getting off their tits and giving us the Portal mission with Black Cat and the Wand. I liked the multiverse stuff in Ratchet, but I didn't think it really was as promising as it was made to be. This is the vision of next gen, at least to me. So much fun, I had a smile on my face the entire time. Well, really just most of the game, to be honest. It was a delight to play. One thing that felt a huge step up in this game was the whole MJ and Pete relationship. It just connected this time. It felt more real. The chemistry was there between Yuri and Laura, and they had some great scenes. I mean, obviously the tunnel scene where she's running away from him because he's not himself, and the symbiote is in control. Or the fact that when Venom turned her into Scream, oh my god, what a nod that was. And then she's venting every single problem that the two of them have had back at Pete while they fight. Everything that she's felt and has kept locked away from him, just screaming at him while he's trying to bring her back. It was brilliant. And then the way it ends with her basically just telling J. Jonah just to fuck off. It's great. It's really great. But also their calls, like just swinging between missions, the way they bounce back and forth with each other with puns and jokes, it really captured the relationship this time. So, I haven't seen it spoken about enough. And representation, it really matters. But damn, I really like Hayley. In fact, love Hayley as a character in this game. The way Insomniac builds her relationship with Miles was really well thought out and special, providing some of the most heartfelt moments between them two. One final thing, because we're talking about heartfelt moments, the Friendly Neighborhood missions had some really truly moving moments that only Spider-Man can provide. But the mission with Howard was beautiful, man. My heart genuinely dropped when he passes at the end of the phone call, and it was really touching, especially as you kind of swing with the birds into the sunset as they start their new life and he lost his. So it was really moving. So yeah, if you can't tell, I love this game, man. I'm so keen to see where the third goes because obviously Otto saying the final chapter is clear as day to say, hey, this is the last one. We have one more to go. Will we see a spin-off between now and then? Maybe. But with Wolverine in the works, probably not. But man, where things are at right now. Goblin, Otto, Carnage, Kingpin probably still. What are they going to do with Harry? How is Silk going to get involved? Are we done with Venom? When are we racing Johnny Storm like in the old days? Is Pete going to survive the trilogy? I didn't even mention Chameleon. Oh my god, what a setup that was. Look, Spider-Man 2, it's not the best game I've played this year. But it is undoubtedly my favourite. And I cannot wait for whatever Insomniac swings our way next. But now I want to know what you guys thought. What was your favourite moment? What do you want to see in the third game? Do you want a Venom spin-off? Agent Venom even? I didn't even talk about that. Let me know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed me mumbling about Spider-Man and being a big old comic book nerd, drop a like on the video and maybe hit the subscribe button if you're after more Spider-Man 2 and comic book game coverage. Have a terrific day. I'll catch you in the next one.